Well, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us at our York Region Townhouse Tour. It's my pleasure to welcome each and every one of you here today, and I hope you're going to find our next hour together very informative, hopefully helpful in terms of seeing the broad scale of possibilities that townhouses present. I want to make this interactive, if at all possible. So if you have questions along the way, right now you are muted, but if you have questions and you'd like to jump in and ask those questions, go right ahead. Put up your hand and I'll have Melissa, our hostess, acknowledge you. Or if you'd like to type it right into the chat box, that's super convenient too. Right? So we want to make sure that if you have any questions about townhouses, that those get fully answered. And if you think of things afterwards, I totally want you to reach out to me and ask me your questions via email. We have some special offers for you at the very end. And I want to make sure that you stay tuned with us, and we're going to get those special offers to you. Okay, so those are exclusive to the people on our webinar today. So thanks so much for being here. We really appreciate it. And we want to give you excellent value in terms of the information we provide for today. So you can see that our cover picture here is a townhouse. And I'm sure you've been driving along any of the major streets in our area and seeing these big square boxes be built everywhere. But that's not the only option. So let's get started. Here I am. My name is Sharon Parento. I am a Keller Williams real estate agent who specializes in downsizing. But as part of my business, as it expands, I'm dealing more and more with first-time buyers. And what I've noticed is that for the vast majority of those first-time buyers, townhouses are out of reach. They just really aren't able to get their finances to the point where they could purchase a property, which in our neighborhood is on an average of about $1.1 million, right? So that's a lot of money. On the other hand, when we're working with downsizers, I hear a lot of times people saying to me, I'm not quite ready for a condo. We're still active. We still have our mobility. We'd still like a little bit of outdoor space. So I don't think condos are the right thing for us. They mean, of course, condo apartments, okay? And so this is a wonderful transitional property type where it's great for those who are moving up and also terrific for moving down. In the article that I wrote to accompany this presentation, I call townhouses the forgotten middle child. And if any of you are middle children, you know what I mean. So here we go. We're going to be discussing townhouses, but I also want to show you how to read an MLS sheet because they're quite coded and you might miss information that's embedded in them if you don't know how to read them. And if you ask me to put you on an MLS search for townhouses, I want you to be very clear in what you're reading. So let's get started on that part of our presentation. And now this is for a condo townhouse, but it doesn't matter. The same basic information comes to you for a condo apartment or a detached home, and it starts with the numbers. And of course, the most important number to most of my buyers is, what is the listing price? You need to understand that the market is always shifting. And this price is what the current agent is asking. It does not mean that's what this property will sell for. It can be higher, it can be lower, but this is the starting point for negotiation. So we want to pay attention to the sale price, or the list price, I mean. Also, you're going to see that taxes can be quite variable. And certainly, if you are in a detached home, the property taxes for the townhouses are going to be much less. But we also see that in dividing newer properties versus older properties, there can be some variation in the amount of property tax paid. So these are all things to figure into your budget. Now, if you were living in a condo apartment, or as we're going to see, a condo townhouse, there are usually monthly fees associated. Now, this is really hard for most of my homeowners to come to terms with. It seems like just in some ways a huge waste of money. That's what I hear, that condo fees are a waste of money. But what you're not perhaps figuring into things is that we already pay maintenance on our homes. We just don't do it on a monthly allocation. If you have something big and catastrophic happen and your furnace goes out, or you need a new roof or whatever, these are like one-time big ticket purchases. Well, obviously you can't do that in a condominium where there's dozens of people living together. You have to make sure that the heat is always running and the windows are good and the roof is good. So part of this is going towards those scheduled maintenances. Also, taking care of the property in terms of the gardens and the snow and the underground parking, all of that. But what's very important to distinguish is what is being covered. And when we get into condo townhouses, looking at them, some of them have full access to luxury resort type amenities, like fitness and recreation and all of those things. And others, you're simply paying for grass and snow shoveling and garbage removal. So there's a wide variance in the maintenance fees. So whether or not you're interested in a freehold townhouse or a condominium townhouse, it's very important to compare apples to apples and make sure that before you jump to a conclusion about this maintenance being a total ripoff, find out what's included. Because like in this example, everything's included. All of your utilities and all of your building amenities, all the common spaces, everything. It's literally one check every month, and no matter where you are in the world, your place is being taken care of. So we want to make sure we're making an informed decision. Other numbers that can be important is how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms. These are all just up to personal choice. There's no right or wrong. It's simply a matter of how much living room, living space do you think you need? And we also want to know if there is parking included, storage included, all of these things. What's there for us to use and enjoy? So sometimes we're going to see that with the townhouses, they have parking right in front of the unit, just like you would in a small home. And other times the parking is underground. And so you can associate some fees with that. Now, this is also key, is to see that in general, townhouses tend to be larger than condo apartments, but not necessarily. So we want to calculate a price per square foot. And you'll see we've got $1,400 to $1,599 on that sheet. That's a big range. That's 200 square feet. So we can't always rely on just the MLS listing. We have to do a little bit of deeper digging. And in this case, the agent has listed in the remarks how big the unit is. And that's very, very helpful for us as consumers to know exactly where on that scale this unit actually is. So other things that you would like to know, I imagine, about MLS listings are some other things such as, well, in this case, it's all about how high up this unit is. It's on the 17th floor. But you're going to notice with the condo townhouses, we have a product that is called a stacked townhouse. And knowing which of the stories you're looking at is quite important. We'll get to that in a minute. Just to point out that there is a gallery of MLS pictures. In this case, there are 40 uploaded, and it usually orients the property in the complex, but also will show you interior pictures so that you know the condition of the interior. So you can make that evaluation as well. And then and this is in less consideration of most people purchasing a townhouse, but it can also be somewhat important, that want to know what direction it faces. So in this case, this unit would face south. Sometimes that's really critically important to people, and other times it's not. And there's no right or wrong, it's what you want. And we can custom make a search for you based on your specific criteria of all these variables. We also read the client remarks. Those are things that the realtor who's listing the property includes as a description, so that you understand what has been maybe recently renovated, or what are the compelling features of this unit. And it's a good reference just to understand what the qualities are they're emphasizing as attractive to you potentially. Now, other things that you really need a realtor's help on, that can give you the inside scoop, are things like the days on market. We've seen some really incredible results in the detached market lately, with properties selling in hours or days. And that's important to know if you're thinking of listing and selling your home anytime soon. You're going to be up and on the market and sold really quickly, but that's not always the case with condominium townhouses in particular. But you know, in general, we want to know where you want to live, because days on market can fluctuate, and it just tells you how quickly you basically have to act on their property. And if it's been on the market for a long time, several weeks, maybe there's a chance that we can negotiate the purchase price lower for you. And that's always such a great feeling for me, to be able to win my clients those thousands of dollars in savings, you know, when we find this opportunity. Oops. Another kind of opportunity that we can see is who owns the property. If it is a bank that's repossessed it, or if it is a power of attorney sale or an estate sale, not to sound crass, but those can all be leverage points as a buyer to go in with a lower type of bid for the property and save you some money. So when I'm working with my buyers, my number one job is to save them as much money as possible. And sometimes knowing the background on this property is really key to establishing where we're going to go in with an offer. Okay, so this is interesting information to me. I hope you find it interesting as well. And when you ask me to send you listings, now you can decode them and understand what each of these kind of abbreviated notations means. So let's get into townhouses as a category of housing. As a property type, they are largely divided into two broad categories, and that's going to be the new construction, which we are seeing pop up everywhere, or resale townhouses. And each of them has their advantages and disadvantages. So let's just talk about new construction, for example. We are seeing an absolute plethora of these so-called stacked townhouses. You see them everywhere, I'm sure. They're tall individual units, quite narrow, and we're going to look at a couple of examples. But what you don't realize is that there are two units at least stacked on top of each other. So this is a way for builders to maximize the profitability of that development by putting in at least two different income generating properties in one kind of space. So as you know, land is expensive, so it's much cheaper to go up than it is to go out. And then we see these cropping up, that's why. So they have some standard features that are really attractive. One of the things is stainless steel appliances are just regular fare these days. Granite countertops, hardwood floors, those kinds of things. Tall ceilings, smooth ceilings with pot lights. These are the characteristics of new construction. They tend to be bright, open, but they can have a lot of stairs. So we'll talk about that in a second as well. The resale, I love the older neighborhoods where we find the townhouse complexes, because lots of times they're nestled in green spaces, they're spread out a little, there's a little bit more privacy, not quite as dense. But if they are freehold townhouses where everybody has been doing their own thing, boy, oh boy, do we see a variation in how well they're being maintained. I've had clients come to me who are in detached homes and they say, there's no way I want to pay condo fees, so only take me to freehold townhomes. And then when we see that some of them have weeds, you know, waist high, and others have peeling paint, and they're just not taking care of them, or they have rented them out and the tenants are, people start to think, wow, in a condo corporation controlled townhouse, at least things are being taken care of and well maintained. So there is an opportunity cost for living in the condo townhouse, but a lot of people, especially as they are aging in place, they've figured it as worthwhile. So not only do we have older versus newer condos, but we, as I've been kind of alluding to all throughout, we have freehold townhouses and condominium townhouses. And again, they have their strengths and their weaknesses. I'm going to tell you, in my market area, freehold townhomes are at least $100,000 more because they have no fees associated with them. So they're deemed by the market to be more valuable. They lots of times have either an attached garage or a separate garage behind, but there is this kind of private entrance that is yours and yours only. But if one of your reasons for considering a townhouse is escaping exterior maintenance, this might not be the right product for you, because I'm telling you, they take work. I personally have a freehold townhouse and I pay a guy to shovel or to plow my driveway. I take care of my own grass and lawn, but every once in a while we need a big ticket item, like I mentioned. And for me, this is so exciting as a grown-up, I just ordered new windows, you know, and so this is on me. This is my responsibility. Whereas a condo townhouse, as you've already figured out, a condo isn't a style of building. Condo means that it's a style of ownership where you own your unit, but also pay towards the general upkeep of the common areas. And what's interesting is that some of the condo townhouses I see, they cover literally everything outside: roof, windows, repaving, refencing, everything. But others, it's really just the basic minimum, and people are still having to do their own roofs and windows and garage doors and all that kind of stuff. So we have to identify what's included for the fee before we understand if those fees are reasonable or not. So townhouses, regardless of freehold or condo, fall into some particular property styles, and we're going to see those. We have condos that are multi-story, where we have 2-story or 3-story. We also have condos, believe it or not, condo townhouses that are bungalows, where all of your living is done on one floor. These are few and far between, and as you're going to see, they have a pretty high value associated with them. We've talked about some of the stacked condos, and we're going to see some examples of those. And then one of the things that's really interesting, if you look at the background pictures of this slide, you're going to see that there is a condo apartment tower, but the ground floor are actually 2-story townhouses. So this is a very cool kind of hybrid living arrangement. Again, they tend to be on the more expensive side. We also have an interesting new product popping up, and that is a work-live suite, where the ground floor is commercial or retail, and then you live above it. That's kind of cool, huh? And if you weren't actually owning that store yourself, you could rent out and create a stream of passive income. And then, of course, there's luxury townhomes. Like, townhomes are not synonymous with high density living all the time. You can purchase townhouses in almost any community that are multi-million dollar. It doesn't mean necessarily that moving to a townhouse is a cheaper option. It just depends. But there is this huge range, a wide variety of price ranges available. And that's why I love townhouses. They're so flexible. You tell me what you want and I can find it. So let's have a look at this first property. This is, as you can see, this is a 2-story townhouse and it's in the middle of the complex. And we're looking here at the price that just sold. This was actually sold in the time that I chose this property to be on our tour till now. It's sold, which is actually kind of cool because you're seeing that these are not low-end property options necessarily. So much depends on the size and the location. And this is in a high demand neighborhood of Valoria Woods in Vaughan. So it's not surprising to me that it went over asking. Remember way back at the beginning, we were talking about the list price versus what it actually sells for. In this case, it went 16% over asking. But I'm going to show you why I chose this. First of all, it is upscale, but it's only 2 stories. So you've only got the one set of stairs. You enter through a double door entrance, which is very attractive. And it's got a finished basement. See, that's the one thing that so many of my clients who say they're not quite ready for a condo apartment will tell me about townhouses, is that they like the idea of being able to spread out over various stories. So you even have a finished basement in this unit. So a big backyard, a private garage, a private entrance, and it has been all kinds of updated. And actually, this is a freehold townhouse, so you pay for everything exterior-wise, right? So that's why there is no maintenance. Let's look at the inside, and this is a very typical layout. I like this layout. We've got the main floor as you walk in the front door, so it feels like a little compact house with all of the rooms being, you know, smaller than in a detached house, but also tend to be a bit narrower. Do you see where the staircase is? It's tucked away and it curves, so it takes up less of the valuable floor space. So this is a little bit older of a unit, but they've done some nice things, including finishing the basement. So all of this bonus basement area can be family room. It could be another bedroom. It could be, you know, rec room, storage. All of these things are super attractive about this. And I'm not surprised that it sold in 6 days. Okay, so in under a week, this property sold over asking. And I'm not surprised. So that's one type of multi-story townhouse. Now here is another. This is also a 2-story freehold townhouse, but what do you not see in this picture? You don't see a garage. And that's why I chose this to be on our tour as well. It has a big open space kind of feel to it. It is in Cornell Village. And if you know Cornell Village in Markham, one of the things that they're really characterized by is that they they situate the properties fairly close to the sidewalk, and the garages are in the back in laneway parking. So this is kind of an interesting option. I think it has, you know, again, strengths and weaknesses. It's got no maintenance associated with it. So the individual homeowners have to take care of the roofs and make sure that all the painting is up to date on the exterior. But what you notice here is that garage. I think, let me just go back to the MLS sheet. Oh, back it up, back it up, back. Is this the same one? I want to know if it's 2 garages or it's a detached single car garage. Yes, okay, with an extra parking spot at the back. So one of the 2 garages here is yours with in the laneway, but you notice what you have to do is you have to come through the backyard to get to your back door. I don't know, I'm not a huge fan of that, but it does remedy the issue of having a big garage out front and a little house out back, which some people really don't like. The purpose here is to show you all the variability, and you decide for yourself what's important to you. So again, we've got a finished basement, a big backyard, but we've got this laneway parking. So now here we are with a condo townhouse, and this is also a 2-story townhouse. But now we're getting into some condo fees. But you'll notice that the condo fees are only $212 a month. I don't know for certain because it's not often revealed, but we're probably looking at grass, snow, garbage, visitor parking, and that's about it. Everything else is your responsibility. Sometimes water's included, but not on this one. You see all the yeses and nos, it tells you what is included for your maintenance fees. And just like every other condo, one of the things we want to be very sure about is that your lawyer, when you purchase this, we always make a conditional sale upon your lawyer's approval of the condominium documentation that reveals all of the budget and the regulations, and it makes sure that you're purchasing into a corporation that is financially healthy. So you can see here, this I wanted to include. Do you see how many doors there are here? This is one of these condos that have been stacked. There's actually one story, one unit that is half a story below ground. That's not this one. This one is one of the main floor ones, but it is smaller. See all of the doors? Some of them go up one flight of stairs, some of them go almost directly in, and some of them almost go down a half a story. So with this one, we can see that everything's above ground, and the advantage is that you are kind of spread out over 2 levels, but you're not, you're not underground. You've got this balcony, but you don't have any outdoor space that's your own. The balcony is it. So if you are not huge about maintaining green space, then this kind of property looks lovely, that's been renovated, that's in a good community, might just be perfect for you. Personally, I would worry about not having the green space, but that's not a high priority to some people. They'd rather have the chic, modern, renovated look here than have a backyard to contend with. You can see why these are popular. So our next type of property is a 3-story freehold. Not all of them look like building blocks. Some of them have a more traditional frontage to them. So I wanted to show you this as an example. This is a more traditional entranceway, but still it is 3 stories. So what we have here are the floor plans. Oh, back it up. We come in and we enter at the front here. We come in through a foyer, and at the back of the 1st story is stairs going down and also the rec room. So you're coming up, and all of the living area is done on one main level. So we've got kitchen, dining, and living room there with a 2-piece powder. And then you go up another set of stairs, and that's where all the bathrooms and bedrooms are. So what's interesting, as you can see, they're calling it a townhouse, but it doesn't share any walls with the unit beside it. And it has a finished basement with a walkout, which I think is a really valuable characteristic. So when we're looking at pricing townhouses, something like this, which is at the end of the unit, an end unit townhouse, tends to be more expensive than the one that's plunked in the middle, like the first unit we saw, because people feel that it's valuable to have fewer shared walls, and that makes sense. So we have a freehold townhouse, and let's look at the inside. You can see that, this is the living area where everybody comes in. We also have a walkout from that area, and then we go up to the bedrooms and bathrooms, and you'll see that we do have a fenced-in yard, but it's a little smaller. What was interesting with the pictures here, it showed you the picture of walking in, and the very first room you saw was like a sitting room. But to get up to the main living area, you had to go up a set of stairs. So it allows you to have the maximum floor space, but still, you know, be within the confines of a townhouse. I thought that was an interesting layout, but again, a lot of stairs. Okay, so now this is a condo 3-story. Again, same situation. We've got end unit, so that's a higher value. But what's interesting about this is the parking is underground. Let's have a look. You come in underground to your unit that you're going to see. So all of that's being maintained. You never have to pay for snow shoveling again. And this actually is very close. On the corner picture, you can see that there's an apartment complex behind it. So with this townhouse unit, you get access to the party room, the games room, everything that are the building amenities of the condo that's in the same complex. But like we said, you get virtually no outdoor space. So this little gated area is your front, is is one end of the townhouse, and this one with that's underneath the balcony is the other side of the townhouse. So you've got two kind of ways in, but let's look at it. So let's have a look. See this middle picture? This is where you're actually entering. So this is where you come in, and then as you go up one floor, you're getting into the main living area again. And then, okay, that's it for that one. But I wanted to show you that with underground parking, you're actually coming into your unit from your 2 underground parking spots, which are right by your back door. Underground. Okay, so some convenience there. Now, what is this one? Okay, so this is the picture at the very front of this. Why did I include this? Well, because it is 3 stories, it is condo, but a very, very low maintenance fee. So we've got the advantages of not having to take care of all the exterior, but this is the one where you also see when you walk in that front door, you're coming into a tiled area that includes a sitting room and a laundry room. And then again, we go up. So do you see, whenever you drive down the road now, you can almost guess the floor plan of these condo townhouses when you see them. Anything that's 3-story, we're gonna know this is how it's divided. Okay, so see this door here, the top left picture is where we go in through the garage, through the front door. Then we've got living and dining room, very nice, very chic. And then we go up to the bedroom level. And when you go up one more story, we have a rooftop terrace. And so this is like the top. You've gone up so many stairs by this point, but you have your own area for barbecue and private sitting out. It's very, you know, private and secluded. You can put some nice patio furniture out there, but this is what stacked or 3-story townhouses are typically like in their layout throughout. So you can see they're pretty fancy. Now this is a gem, and you can see again, in the time that we chose it to the time that we actually are all meeting together, it's sold. It's sold in only 7 days, and it's sold at over asking by a fair chunk. And this is a bungalow townhouse in Swan Lake Village, which is a beautiful old, well, it tends to be older people who are living there, and it has the most incredible amenities for the building. It's spread out over many acres, and it's been there long enough that the trees are big. There's privacy in your backyard. It's a gorgeous environment to live. But look at the maintenance fees. So the maintenance fees there are $875 a month, but this is everything. It includes most of your utilities. I think only hydro is separate, but you get to participate in all of the recreational amenities, the fitness, everything. And what I've been noticing, I've been visiting these. We used to do these condo tours together in person, and I was watching every year they had a major project where they were replacing something. They were working on the garage doors or the roof, or last year they were replacing a lot of the decks out the back of these. And so you never have to worry again. And they have an occupancy limit of 2 adults. So it tends to mean that it's mostly older, retired people, and there's a lot of social activity that can be available. Like, you don't have to, but it is really quite unique. So as you see, the back of the townhouse there, they've got that, and they've got a new deck. They must have been one of the ones that got a new deck last year. And it opens up onto greenbelt and trees, and it's very, very private. So it has a garage, but behind the garage, you're going to see, I'm not sure if this picture will show it or not, but directly behind the garage is a little patio with a walkout from the kitchen. And at the back is where you have your deck off of the living room kind of area. Okay, so these are condoized. Everything is taken care of, but you're going to see in this one, we have a finished basement. So even though it's a bungalow where you've got your main living area all on one floor, in this case, we have a total other bedroom and bathroom down there, also finished. So they are about, well, they range between 20 and 30 years old. So some of them have been really renovated and others haven't. But I tell you, I love this community. When we don't have COVID to contend with, they do everything like organizing holiday dinners, potlucks, and going on bus tours and heading down to the theater. So it's a very, very nice lifestyle. But you see, it's $875 a month. So there we go. So when we're talking about townhouses, I put them in the middle between a detached home and an apartment. A lot of my clients are concerned with COVID about using elevators. So all of the condos that we saw here today, you have direct access to your unit. You don't have to get in an elevator. And this is wonderful if you also have a pet, right? You're not having to ride up and down in the elevators with your pet. You can go directly in, and they are very desirable for resale compared to an apartment. They just appeal to a broader swath of the population. Does that make sense? They also have a lower price per square foot than a lot of condominium apartments, not always, but typically. And as we've seen, you either have your own backyard and outdoor space, or you have access to it in an easier way. And lots of them do have finished basements. So this can be bonus living area or storage. The exception being, of course, the 3-story ones. A lot of times they don't have a separate basement. It just, you know, we saw that. The basement is used up as entrance space. So we get some bigger floor plans. It's not like you can't find 2,000 square foot apartments fairly easily, but in general, the townhouses are larger, and there's a variety of floor plans for whatever your needs are. And lots, I'm going to say another thing is that it allows couples especially to spread out, that you're not always kind of an eye shot of your spouse. and trust me, if we do another COVID shutdown, that can be important. And in my case, it's my teenagers. I don't necessarily want to see them. And now, compared to detached home, this is all kind of in flux. I don't know that they do sell any more quickly right now, because detached homes are literally flying off the shelf. But they do definitely carry lower carrying costs, right? There are lower carrying costs because everything that you are doing is typically on a smaller scale. So if you have renovations, it's a smaller kitchen to renovate. If it's maintaining the grass, well, it's a less work, so it's also less cost. Even your property insurance will be lower, and your property taxes will be lower. And if you want a maintenance-free option, like we've seen today, they are there. You can literally purchase into a unit where everything is being taken care of for you. You can also benefit by being in a place where you have access to all of the amenities of a luxury condominium. So there is literally something for everyone. And when we look at the prices, you can see here, we're going to call the attached two-story. We're going to see here that this is what I'm referring to as a townhouse. So this is from the Toronto Real Estate Board, and it's based on January. So real-time information. And you can see that if you stayed in your same community and switched categories of property, you can see what the approximate jump is up or down. So they really have some value associated with them. And they really appeal to either end of the purchasing cycle, either people who are moving up or people who are moving down. Okay, so imagine if you, let's take the most expensive neighborhood, detached two-story Richmond Hill. Say you did that and then you bought a townhouse in Newmarket, oh, back it up, Newmarket or Aurora. You would really have an amazing nest egg at the end of this, right? To finance your future retirement or whatever it is. Like, that is a big chunk of money. So you can see why I love townhouses as a transitional property. So we've come to the end of our presentation today. I'm wondering if you have any questions. I've encouraged you right at the beginning to type them in the chat box. Please take advantage of this time now. We also have a wonderful program tonight. I'm so excited. It's a continuation of our learning today about how to fund your retirement with the various property options, but then what to do with that big chunk of change that I just referenced. Like, somebody hands you $500,000. What can you do with it to protect it and nurture it and grow it? All of these things. So we are partnering with a really smart Scotiabank financial advisor, and we've got this great program tonight at 6 p.m. And I really encourage you to be there. You definitely will get your money's worth. And it's, you know, the bar is pretty low because it's free. But I want to really encourage you to come out and to share this with a friend. Okay, so this is great information that can literally make you thousands of dollars, and also give you a sense of a goal and a mission and a purpose, right? A direction. Because a lot of people have a fairly undefined idea of what retirement's going to mean. And so we want to put some real hard numbers to it and give you a plan by the end of our time together tonight. So it's really a worthwhile hour. And if you would like to join some of our other property tours, we do virtual condo tours in all kinds of different locations. And some of the information will be new, but what's great is we get to see properties that are currently for sale on the MLS. So fantastic. And you'll see what the price differential is. So that's very, very cool. And then I also encourage you to reach out to me when and if you have questions about anything you heard today. And my special offer to you is, for being here today, I would love to send you townhouse listings that meet your criteria, whether that is condo or freehold. Regardless of the community, if I have access to those listings, I'd love to send those out to you so that you can see what's going on in your neighborhood and understand the price points for each of those. So please reach out to me if you'd like that service. It's always free of cost, no obligation. We just love to provide you with excellent information so that when the time is right, you can make the right decision for you and your family. Okay, simple. So I don't see any questions in the chat box, but we still have a few minutes if you'd like to add any. It's been my pleasure to share this information with you. And I want to give a big shout out to our operations coordinator, Melissa. We work in tandem to create these presentations for you so that you will have up-to-date information about the market that we are exploring together. And I'm looking forward to when we can all start doing this again in my minivan and look at these places in person. But for now, this is the next best thing. And I appreciate her and the time that she puts to making this great presentation for us. So kudos to her. Thank you for being with us. I look forward to connecting with you online, in person, by telephone, however you feel best about it. That's my great pleasure. So thank you. I'm sharing now, and rest assured, if you have questions, please reach out. Okay? Thank you. Bye for now.